Commission meeting to order, please.
The first thing on the agenda is Crystal Valley.
Okay, and so
Documents here for you guys. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
So, wrote it out, I'll go through it. Any discussion you need to have can certainly address, but thank you for allowing us the time and to be heard for the Planning and Zoning Commission and the City Council. Attending on behalf of Crystal Valley, myself, Travis Brecken, Compliance and Safety Manager, Roger Keenholz, General Manager, CEO. Crystal Valley was alerted to some concerns that were raised during the February 27th Planning and Zoning Commission meeting regarding compliance with statutory and MDA, Minnesota Department of Ag, requirements for setbacks as they relate to our anhydrous ammonia facility in Madelia. Following a review of the meeting video, Crystal Valley felt compelled to address the comments made and correct the misinformation that was shared during that meeting to ensure the commission had accurate information available to them.
So I think we could stop at that point. And the question now becomes, I mean, Crystal Valley is certified to operate what you're operating, correct?
Correct.
And you're certified by the state every year to be able to operate that.
Correct. So second page in the packet is
Yeah.
our licensing permitting for the
I think
facility.
that's really the concern, is it not?
Yeah, because I guess I don't see any other concerns other than if the state is
No,
looking
and so,
at.
and again, the reason I'm bringing this up is because I'm the one that initially raised the concern. And what my concern was, is that we were about potentially to put a multifamily housing unit within what could be construed as a safe zone. We've determined that's not within the safe zone, so that's not an issue. So then the part two of this problem set is, you're still certified, the state allows you to operate, the MDA is good with what you're doing. So I don't see what the concern is at this point.
Correct. Our goal was to get the information in the commission's hands.
No, I appreciate that, and we'll make that, we'll ensure we make that as part of the public record. But
Yep.
at the end of the day, there is no issue.
From planning and zoning, I assume there's no issue. Well, the issue Crystal Valley had was just the charge or commented that we were non-compliant and that we were violating Minnesota statutes and operating outside
I
the bounds
think
of the
you've well
park.
established that that's not the case.
Okay, just wanted to make sure that that's very clear.
Yes, and I, unless you all disagree, I can cover that completely. And I really appreciate you taking the time and putting the due diligence into this to make that clear.
Any other questions or concerns regarding it?
Not from my perspective, no.
I'm content and for
No.
planning and zoning.
The one thing that I do wanna point out though going forward, and Alice pointed it out, in regards to how I mail out my notices of, future meetings, should I be mailing them out directly to your department in regards to that property? Like making sure that I address you individually so you are aware of the meetings, if anything should ever come up in the future.
Yes, I would say either address to Roger or to the compliance and safety side of
Okay.
the company. Either one would be appropriate. If there's, we can direct it to any pertinent individuals or who may need to be involved.
I just wanna make
So,
sure that if we were to have to meet for the planning commission meeting or anything for your properties, if you have a specific place that you want anything sent, please let me know.
Yep, and I can do that.
Thank you.
Travis would be your best first point of contact as it pertains to all things related to safety and compliance.
Okay,
Things can sit on my desk and be there for a period of time, and not get forwarded if I'm absent or whatever, so.
well,
Anything safety and compliance wise should come to Travis first.
yeah, when I mail out the notices, it's just a generic
Right.
Crystal Valley, and so I'm not really sure whose desk it actually ended up at, but I wanna make sure that you're notified of the meetings to be present, or call me,
Yep.
so we can communicate directly.
Yep.
And just one comment that you raised there, Glenn, about your concerns about the city having any liability, culpability for approving something that's within the 400-foot current setback from our facility. I realize you guys can do that. Obviously, anything that happens in that, if we're residential or public buildings, then obviously prohibits us from ever doing anything further to modify our facility whatsoever. And that's just the way it is. I realize that law is kind of one way. We have to stay away from stuff that you guys aren't necessarily prohibited from coming into that safe zone as you speak.
So my concern was exactly what the point you're pointing out. If we were to authorize this for something that's already established, does that create a liability on our part? And that's.
I don't know the answer to that,
Yeah, well,
but I would be
that's-
concerned about it.
Right. Well, and that is part of a planning and zoning commission concern. That's something we have to keep in mind.
Right.
Any other questions in regards to this item? Are you okay if we move on to the
Good.
next agenda item?
Yep.
Thank you for the time you put
Thank
into this,
you.
we appreciate it.
This is good.
The next item that's on the agenda is amending the zoning ordinance R1. And if you guys had a chance to look at R1, in the conditional uses, we do not have multi-housing in the conditional uses. So I'm looking for an amendment, number 11 in R1 to include the multi-housing units.
So you're just looking for a motion to amend it to
I
add?
just-
So I will go back to something I thought you had said the last time we met, that amending the ordinance was problematic.
No, amending the ordinance is the only way to ensure that we could do this in the future and wouldn't violate state statute.
Okay.
Because if we don't add R2 as a conditional use to the R1, we cannot approve a conditional use under R1 for that purpose. Would be violative of the state statute. That's what I had said. So,
No, I appreciate that.
I'm
Thank you.
strongly encouraging that you do, regardless of whether or not Peach is pursuing the apartments in that previous location, that this is imperative if we're gonna have any other multi-housing built here, because as you've indicated many times, I think astutely, that we don't have much of anything as far as places to build, so we're having to take a longer look at what our overall city plan is when we're looking at industry versus multi-housing versus single housing. Yeah, that would be helpful to ensure that we can actually do this in the future.
Got it. I appreciate the clarification. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
So I think we just need to add that to number 11, for special or conditional uses.
But also with that, if we do add that to this, we could still have stipulations on that. They still have to come to a meeting and present it, and it has to be approved for the conditional use.
Same procedure exists for that conditional use as the other 10 that are listed within the ordinance, so yes.
Yep.
In addition, there are a number of different changes that we could make to the ordinance that would put more strict requirements on those
Okay, one step at a time.
multifamily dwellings. I'm just expounding on the question, that's all. I'm not suggesting you do anything more than what we're
Got it,
asking
got it.
today, but it's just for future
Right, right.
reference. There are other things that we can do to modify the ordinance, so.
So I would entertain a motion to modify the ordinance.
I'll make a motion to modify the ordinance to add multifamily housing to number 11.
All second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Same sign. Motion carries.
The next item that's going to be, is to call another planning commission meeting on the next council meeting night, which I believe is the 27th of March. On that agenda will be, a variance for Peach Companies for the balconies that are on the new, downtown business plan. So that will be at 5:30. I don't know if we need that approval, I just need to announce that we're having a public hearing.
announcement, yeah.
Other than that, that is all that I have on the agenda tonight.
All right. I would entertain a motion to close the planning and zoning commission.
I'll second.
I'll make the motion. I can say.
Oh, no, I'll second. Everything backwards.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Thank you.
Forgot to take away today. That's Monday.